Hello, guys. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to everything. We are going to be going over, the fact Trump picked his VP. We're also going to be going over wait a minute. What? Wait. Why is my camera flipped? Oh, well, it's going to have to stay that way for now. But either way, welcome back, guys. I don't know why OBS was giving me problems like last second for no reason. I have no idea why. So now we're going to be doing it on here for now. I'm going to be doing a poll. I'm going to poll chat really quick. Guys, make sure to hit the like button as well. VP pick for Trump. Let's see this. I'm going to do Vivek, Vance, Rubio, and Burgum. I'm going to poll chat, and I want to see what chat thinks about the top VP contenders. I want to see. I'm curious to see what chat thinks, because me personally, out of those four, I would want Vivek, but I understand why a lot of people might not want him at the same time, because they don't want somebody to damage his brand or something like that. They don't want him to damage Trump's brand. Guys, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you are new. I would greatly appreciate it. So Bernie should be VP. Okay, so it clearly seems like most of the chat seems like Vivek is like the slight favorite. So that's interesting. To be honest, I think it's going to be Burgum, because you could literally go on TrumpBurgum.com. You could literally look up Trump Burgum, and Burgum, it takes you to Trump's page. So literally, it's like at this point, pretty much I'm like almost 100% certain it's going to probably be Burgum, because you can literally type in TrumpBurgum.com into the web browser, and it literally takes you to Trump's campaign website. So it's probably going to be Burgum. I'm not really excited about that pick, to be honest with you, but it could be a fake. I don't know. I doubt that, though. That wouldn't really make sense to me if he tried doing that as a fake. But we have a lot of new polling data today. Today was actually a good day for Donald Trump polling wise. We had a lot of polls come out. Guys, make sure to go ahead and follow Twitter. I don't have it in the description because this was last minute, but it would be interesting to go ahead and do that. Tester is done, is in this. Oh, okay. So guys, we have the poll from Quinnipiac, which has Trump up 4 in a head-to-head, and he's up 6 points, which is crazy. And Oliver's actually polling at a 1%. That's crazy. Oliver's actually polling at 1% nationally. That to me is hilarious. That's really funny. And so I see Burgum, no. Biden 2024. It's either going to be Youngkin or Burgum. So I personally, this is really exciting news, because Quinnipiac is very, very liberal leaning. They're a very liberal leaning pollster. This is very common for them to be very liberal leaning. And their last poll actually had Biden up 3 points. If you go down to the aggregate, they're literally like one of the 3 polls that Biden's been up in the past 2 months, essentially. There's only been 3 polls. Well, there's actually been 5, but it's 1 out of the 5 polls. And this is actually Biden's biggest lead the past 2 months in a poll. And it's a very liberal leaning pollster. And you saw Biden at 41, Trump at 38. Now Trump's at 43. Now Biden's at 37. So it's like the complete reverse. So, which is crazy that it's a complete opposite flip. And they tend to oversample Democrats quite a bit. I mean, they're a very liberal leaning pollster. And then on top of that, you had the New York Times also come out with a poll. You had the New York Times come out with a poll, and I did a video on this literally just the other day, or not the other day, but literally just not that long ago. And you look at these crosstabs, and they are not good for the former president, or they're not good for the incumbent president at all. They are not good. It seems like most of the electorate is very likely to vote here. It seems like the group that's most likely to turn out is 67% is the 65 plus category. The demographic most likely to turn out is white voters. For whatever reason, African Americans are actually more likely to turn out than Hispanics, which is interesting. We see that Donald Trump in a head-to-head matchup is actually up by 6 when you include leaners, which is interesting. And then without leaners, you see Donald Trump's up by 7. And then the regular sample, I believe, had Trump up by like 4 or something like that. That's kind of what you saw there. And it said if you're not supporting Trump or Biden, if you had to decide between the two today, it's essentially a tie. And then the other one said 35% refuse. So basically, you would essentially gain no matter what. And if you look at this, it's pretty interesting, but it says recoded to age and what year were you born? I don't know why. I guess it okay, well, I see what this is. So it seems like the highest sample of this is actually 64 to 45 to 64-year-old voters. That's really interesting because usually 65 plus tends to be a more, accurate or a more type of demographic that would actually come out to vote. But that's not what it seems to be the case. This poll actually has them at 31%. And you see here, what's the highest education level you completed? You actually see that high school is the biggest demographic here, which is quite interesting. Not a majority, but definitely a large plurality there. And we see that this poll is a 63% white poll. We see Hispanics are at 12%, African Americans at 11%, Asian at 3%. So the sampling on this is all right. Like, it's pretty decent. I could see this happening. That would make sense. Do you consider yourself a Democrat or a Republican, independent? And we see that Republican 29%, Democrat 28%, independent 34%. So this is roughly a decent sample. And we see here, this is the bombshell. This is the bombshell, guys. This guy, they show it for 2020. So they essentially what they did, and this is what I'm actually doing a national poll right after the debate with SoCal Research. We're conducting a national poll right after this, and I'm basically sponsoring the poll. But what's going to happen is we're going to poll the people in 2024. We're going to ask them about the presidential debate, see who they think who won essentially. And then on top of that, we're basically going to have, what do you call it? We're going to have them ask, who did you vote for in 2024? That's essentially what's going to be the question. And the reason why we are going to do that is because this is a very accurate, pretty effective way of basically getting rid of most of polling error, essentially. So, like, for example, in this poll, they showed Trump up by 7 with third parties, and right here they show Biden up 5 points in the 2020 sample. So what's pretty interesting about this is that Biden is up 5 points in the 2020 sample. That's a pretty accurate sample because Biden won the popular vote by 4.5. So effectively, that actually puts it only half a point off. So if you were to adjust for an error, Trump actually wins the national popular vote by like 7.5 points according to this poll. So they actually sampled 2020 pretty correctly for the most part. What's going on? What is going on in chat? I don't understand what is going on in chat. Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Never ending era. Yeah. They were getting completely out of hand. They were going completely out of hand. I'm home says I live in Yavapai County, Arizona. Arizona is likely going to go to Biden. Not right now. Arizona's not going to go to Biden. The polls that are out for Maricopa County have Trump up in them, and Red Eagle Politics did a poll with SoCal Research, and they have Trump up 5 in Maricopa County. Now, could be wrong. They should have polled them and asked them how they voted in 2020. If it showed a Biden +2 sample, then that probably would have meant that this poll could have been very accurate. So it's basically what we're doing. What is going on? There's a lot of other people. There's a lot of people who usually don't join the stream who are in here right now. Guys, please make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Please make sure to do that. I would greatly appreciate it, so we can get the algorithm kind of out there. Jake Hall, hey, on point. What is going on in chat right now? Yeah, we see that there are trolls, but it's okay. If they're just spamming or whatever, if they spam too much, you could just get rid of them. But if they're just saying, oh, Biden 2024, and they're not really causing that big of a problem, just go ahead. Is this a raid or just a bunch of people spamming the same thing? Well, I guess it's a raid, but I don't know. It really doesn't matter. They're giving us more traction anyway, so it's fine. So either way, we see that there's a Biden sample, and they actually broke it down nicely by demographics. So what I did is I got the 2024 sample, which shows all the demographics being more Republican than what they were before. And then we have the 2020 sample. And then what we do is we go back to the 2020 exit polls from New York Times, and we find an adjusted error, and we apply those errors to the 2024 margin, and that gives us the final demographics. And then what I did was I essentially, because if you go to the model and you like plug in all the demographics, it's going to give you a Trump map of like 535 to 3 electoral votes. That's not realistic. But what I did find that was useful is that if you basically just break this down by categories, so if you do a map just for age, you do a map just for education, you break it down by gender, and you break it down by race, and if you combine the results, okay, yeah, he's well, yeah, he's done. All right, he is done. Yeah, I don't know what's going on in here. Do you think Gwinnett County could flip back to Trump in 2024? I'm not exactly sure if that would be the case. What let me see what that one is. Was that a close county before? Let's see something. Okay, so as we could see here with the model, if you break it down by age, education, income, and race, and you basically divide it up into 4 different maps, you essentially get this result right here. And the electoral college result is actually pretty nuts. It's a pretty crazy map. I'm not gonna lie. It's nuts. This is what the map ends up looking like. Essentially, Trump just kills it in all the swing states. He's like killing it in all the swing states. He's doing really good in places like Illinois and even Maine's first. He actually gets that under like a couple points. New York's like a 10-point win. Okay, yeah, no. We are okay. Yep, nope. That is not good. Not good. Yeah. No, they're ruining the professionalism of the chat. It's not good. Do you think Ben Carson has any chance of being the BP? I would like him to be the BP, but to be honest, I don't really see that happening. I really don't. So that's just my take on it. I don't think he's vetting him for VP. And as we keep breaking this down, we're going to see Donald Trump is absolutely dominating this. He is literally killing this demographic breakdown. And yes, you see that. You guys saw it. Yes, the model, when you basically break this down and you put it on, Colorado is a tilt margin for Trump, or for Biden, excuse me. It's literally a tilt margin for Biden when you break down the demographic maps, which sounds crazy. It sounds nuts that Colorado could be that close. But if the national popular vote is a 7.5-point victory and there's a lot of third-party candidates affecting the vote, it would kind of make sense for that to happen. But at the same time, I don't really think that's going to be the case. We think that we basically have in our projection Trump's going to win the popular vote by 6.8. That puts Biden winning the state of Colorado at like 4 points. So that's roughly where we have Colorado at right now. This basically has it at a tilt margin for Biden, I guess, presumably because this doesn't really take into account state trends. For example, like we actually have Wisconsin at like 8.8%. So that's roughly where we have that. Funny enough, Pennsylvania is actually 0.1% more Republican on this, which is pretty funny. I'm not going to lie. That is pretty interesting to think about that would be the case. We see Ryan Blinky Politics says, wait, why do you got? Oh, okay, all right. What is going on? I don't know what's happening. Mods, if you could kind of handle that, I would appreciate it. I don't know what's going on there. If you guys could look at that, just handle that if you can. So what's quite interesting is that when you break it down by race, Delaware is actually competitive, which is hilarious. So is Illinois. Illinois is like a tilt margin for Biden. May not largest the same margin as Illinois, which is really funny. And New Jersey actually flips in that scenario. So it's pretty nuts. And Virginia's likely. New Mexico's like an 8-point win. Nevada's like a 13-point victory. We see Iowa at like 17 points. Georgia's a 21-point win. Like all these breakdowns have it pretty nuts. It's pretty insane. It's a really crazy looking map. It really is. And so another way we could do this, which would be interesting, because I want to, this would actually be interesting to do, is to do it like this. I wonder if this may be a better way of doing it. So you would get, let's try this. So we get this D4, and then we basically add this, and then we basically get the shift in like every single, we get like this shift basically. So we could do like F4 minus D4. There we go. So we have like this shift. So now what we could actually do, this may be a little bit more useful here. So we see a 22-point shift here. That only leaves we shift that 22 points to the left or to the right. 29 minus 22 would be 7. So that would be a 7-point win there. That already puts Trump at 313. I'm just curious to see if this works. An 18-point shift here. Ugh, that's not good. 45 to 64. What would the shift be there? Like 14 points. Yeah, this is not. Yeah, there's no way. Yeah, you would be winning that by 19. There's no way. And you shift that 3 points to the right, 347, and then non-college is shifted to the right by 11. So that would be just 13. Yeah, you see, look what happens. Even when you do it like this, it doesn't even make sense. It gives you like a map that's basically not going to happen. That's basically what I was trying to explain. There's literally no way that this would happen. There's no way that this would happen. But what you can do is you could break it down individually. So you would do a map just for age, you do a map just for this, you do a map just for income, and you do a map or by gender, and you do one just for race. And so when you do that, when you break it down, it gives you this map, which is the same electoral college projection that we have, but it's still a little, this demographic map makes no sense. Okay. Can you, if you want to go ahead and comment how it doesn't make any sense, go ahead and tell me, because literally what I did is I got the only pollster. I'm going to break it down again. I got the only pollster who does this. They poll people how they voted for in 2024, and then they ask the same sample who they voted for last time. So right now, Trump is up 7 in this sample for 2024. They ask those same people, who'd you vote for in 2020? They show Biden up by 5. That's a pretty accurate sample because Biden won the popular vote by 4.5. And so what you do is you go ahead and you look at the demographic margins for this year's sample. You go back and say, okay, how did they vote last time? So, okay, how did they vote in 2020? And then you look at the exit poll margins from New York Times and you go, okay, well, I'm going to find the adjusted error between these two. So you could see that this sample actually overestimated Democrats here by a point compared to what the real result was in 2020. So you get all the adjusted errors for all the demographics and you apply it to this. And these are the margins you get for this year. These are the margins you get for these things. And so when you apply, obviously, if you were to put all these numbers into this map right here, it's going to give you a landslide of like Trump winning every single state. That's not going to happen. But what I found useful was to go ahead and do one map for age, you do one map for gender, you do one map for education, and you do one map for race. And when you average out all 4 maps, you get a final electoral college margin for every single state. And this is the map that was produced. Again, this is probably not, I'm not saying that this is going to be the final result, but even the polls are showing, when you actually take the time to examine all the polling, how you're supposed to do it, it shows a result that's similar to what we have. Now we're thinking ahead and saying, okay, Colorado is not going to it's going to vote 11 points to the left of the nation. Last time it only voted like, I believe, 7 points to the left of the nation. So, of course, Colorado is going to be more Democrat. I have it as a 4.2 percentage point victory, which even then, that might actually be underestimating Colorado because we don't know how much it's going to trend to the left for certain, but we're projecting it's going to trend a couple points to the left. We actually have Georgia going back by like we have Georgia, I think it votes to it moves to the left by like 0.5 or something like that. It's like it's barely in that column. And like Arizona shifts to the left by like 2 points. So you see the state of Arizona vote to the left of Georgia. Now, here's the thing that I need people to understand. If Biden were to win the popular vote by 4.5, like I'm showing you on my screen right here, if he were to win it by 4.5, we could actually just do the margin map right now. So let's say Biden wins the popular vote by the exact same amount. This is why it's going to be important to not have Biden win the popular vote by the same amount, because if he does, he more than likely wins the election. And the reason why he wins the election is because we're going to break this down really quick, but essentially you have a couple states that essentially vote a lot closer. So like Montana on this, if we find it, it's only 14 points. Missouri around 12. Kansas would presumably likely. Same thing with South Carolina. I wouldn't be surprised. 11 points. Not surprised. Kansas, only 10 points. Not surprised. So if we go ahead and fill this out, I wouldn't even be surprised if Indiana went. Yeah, Indiana's likely too. And the reason why is because the white vote is trending to the left. So yes, it's going to shift right. Tester might be possibly not be the hypothetical. Duh, you got to adjust for turnout. Well, we are though. We literally are adjusting for turnout. We expect less people to vote this cycle because both major party candidates' approval ratings have gone down. Biden's has gone down like 12 points. Trump's only gone down like 3. So we are trust me. If this was a high turnout election, Trump would probably not be winning by this much. It would still be closer, but I think Trump would still win easily for today's standards. He'd probably win Wisconsin by 2, win Michigan by 1, win Pennsylvania by like 1, win Georgia by like 3 or 4. So that's roughly what you would see there. Colorado in this scenario would actually be safe. Same thing with Illinois, same thing with New York. Like all these states would basically be safe. Like it wouldn't even be a question at this point. Virginia would actually be the exact margin of what it was last time. So it doesn't even trend anywhere. New Mexico would actually be 0.1% less Democrat. So like a lot of those would stay the same. Iowa and Ohio would actually be a little bit closer, funny enough. And Florida would be a 4.5-point victory. So Trump would still improve. Texas is actually like a 5.8 percentage point win. So that's actually quite funny that would happen. This is basically simulating my model if Biden were to win the popular vote by 4.5 again. That's basically what I'm simulating for because I plugged it in right here. Alaska would only be 7.8%, which I think makes sense because the state is trending to the left. So that would make sense. Hawaii is closer, though. It's only a 22-point win, so it does still trend to the right. Georgia is still, if we look at it, it would be tilt Democrat. We have Arizona at a lean margin. North Carolina would presumably, if we were to pull it up here, let's see, we could find it 0.7%. So that's where that stands. And also Nevada would actually be pretty close. Nevada is still on here, I believe. It's only 0.8 for Biden. So that trends to the right again. Wisconsin, 2.5 points. So it trends to the left. Michigan would be like a 4-point victory, 3.5. So it's a little bit more Democrat than last time. Pennsylvania would basically be around that same 2.6 margin, be slightly more Democrat. Minnesota would be around, if we could find it, would be around an 8.5-point win. New Hampshire, 9.3. So you see Biden would essentially improve in a lot of these states. He would actually improve in a lot of them. Nebraska, second, 7.7. So it trends about a point to the left. And we see Maine's first. If we can go find that 22-point win. So it's actually closer. And then Maine's second would be a little bit more. But Maine at large would actually be a 9.4 percentage point victory. So it actually becomes slightly more Democrat than last cycle. So if Biden wins the popular vote by 4.5 points, this is what you would get in the electoral college. Biden would get the same electoral college margin effectively. Georgia and Nevada would kind of be up for contention, and even Arizona to an extent, but the Rust Belt would essentially be gone for Trump. And these states, I actually think, are going to trend to the left a little bit this cycle, just because you see the white vote trend to the left, and these states have a higher white population than some of the states in the Sun Belt. So realistically, it does actually make a lot of sense for those states to end up being bigger margins for Biden if he were to win the popular vote by the same amount. Now, if Biden wins it by 2, this is where Donald Trump effectively wins the presidential race. This would be like the tipping point margin in the popular vote, essentially. This is where it would be the tipping point in the popular vote. So if we see Washington is still there, Oregon would be likely. We see that Nevada at this point would be a 1.7 percentage point win. North Carolina, 3.7. Georgia would be a likely state. Presumably all of these states would be in the safe column. I don't think Kansas wouldn't be safe yet. Neither would Alaska be, but I think Montana would be. South Carolina, I don't think would be yet either. It would still be 13.7. We see Wisconsin flip. We'd see Pennsylvania stay there. We see Michigan. So actually, Biden would still win, I think, if the popular vote. Oh, no, because Arizona flips. So you see Arizona flip. Nebraska second. If we go there, we can look at it. It's still 5.2%. New Mexico 8. New Hampshire 6.8. Oregon there. So we still see pretty easy victories for Biden in a lot of these states, but Trump also improves in a lot of places as well. And so it's kind of a mixed bag when you have a national environment like this. Hawaii, 20 points. Illinois goes below that margin. A lot of these basically narrow up. And so this would be that map. If Trump wins or loses the popular vote by 2, this is the map you would get effectively. So that's why my case here, the reason why I showed you guys this, is because Trump, all he's got to do, he doesn't even need to win the popular vote. Now, he can't lose it by the same amount because more than likely Biden would win the election. He probably would. If exit polls come out and Biden's up by 4 points, we might be cooked. But even if Trump loses it by 2, he would effectively be in the range to win. And you see Georgia's already lean, North Carolina's lean, Nevada's lean, Arizona's still with Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania is sort of competitive. And it's actually so close that it really could go either way. Similar for Wisconsin. So the race at that point would effectively be a toss-up because these states are literally decided within like 1/100th of a point. So at that point, my forecast wouldn't even be viable. I would essentially have to lead these up. And so... Yeah. No, never in the air. I know that Tester is done. He's like a troll, basically. He's like a troll in the community. I know. All due respect, Mr. Point, this is cooked. What do you mean this is cooked? I'm making a valid point. If Biden wins the popular vote by 2 points, the race is effectively a toss-up. I don't really understand how how's that cooked. I really don't understand that. The 3 states would effectively be up for grabs. So either one of them could win it, but I think Arizona at that point would probably be going Republican. These states are under 1/100th of a point, so those would effectively be toss-ups. But we don't really have any states like that in our projection right now, so I don't have to really leave them blank. Now, if the popular vote was tied, then you get a little bit of a more comfortable Trump victory, and you even see states like Minnesota become competitive, Nebraska second, New Hampshire, Virginia not yet, or Colorado, but it would start getting there. And you actually see the exact margins there. Now, what's funny is that the New York Times, especially in a college poll, had Trump up 4. And so if you were to have the 4.5-point victory when you adjust for an error, Donald Trump still wins the election easily. He actually still picks off Minnesota. So he gets that. He gets Wisconsin by 6.5. He gets Pennsylvania by the same amount. He gets North Carolina by like 10, Nevada by 8. He gets Michigan by 5.5, Georgia by 8.5. He gets Arizona by 7.2. Like, he literally still wins the election very easily. He still wins the election pretty comfortably. So even if he's not winning the popular by 6.8, he still ends up doing good. And to be honest, if everybody's predicting Trump to get roughly 300 and let's say Trump is projected to get 312. So people have 312 or something closer than that. and he gets 323 because of Nebraska's second in Minnesota, and I have him winning 347, mine would still be the most accurate prediction anyway, because I would have been the closest one to getting it. And more than likely, at that point, I'd probably see New Mexico even possibly flipping too, because that state's going to trend to the right by quite a bit. But to be fair to On Point, does win by 2 in that particular scenario? What do you mean? I just showed him winning by 2, though. Like what that would look like. Either way, so even if it was a head-to-head matchup, Trump would still be winning 323 electoral college votes, which if the election was a head-to-head, I actually think this is pretty realistic. Like, I think this is a realistic map. This would make a lot of sense for it to be the head-to-head matchup. But when you have third-party candidates in the mix that are essentially giving Trump like more points in the popular vote, that's why you get such a big landslide. That's why you get the big landslide. If it weren't for third parties, Trump would have a moderately decent victory. It would be the same victory he would have gotten in 2020 if COVID hadn't happened. So if it were Biden plus 4.5, it would be Biden 293 to 245. So you think that Wisconsin would go Republican? I mean, I guess it would go Republican. But right here, we see that Trump wins big. And the debate is tomorrow, guys. The debate is tomorrow, and Biden's going in there with a really bad approval rating. He's going there with a historically low approval rating. He's going into the debate with, we can look it up here. He is going into this debate with a 40.1% approval rating. Like, how are you going into the debate with that bad of an approval rating? Like, how is that possible? How are you going into the debate with that bad of an approval rating? I actually don't even know why did I even do that? Oh, well. Either way. So, yeah, clearly right now it's not looking good at all. It's not looking great. Biden's at 40% nationally going into a debate tomorrow. So that's not good either. And the economy, which is like the second most important issue, he's down 16 points on that. And then on immigration, he's down on that by like 26. So that's already not great either. Let's see. Let's look up Gwinnett County for Georgia. Let's see. Where would that be? Okay. Gwinnett County, probably, I'm going to be honest with you, probably not. It'll be close. I think it'll be close, but I really doubt that. I think it's going to be closer. Like, it'll probably get within 10, maybe even within 5, but I doubt it. Didn't Trump have the same approval rating at this time during his presidency? Let's actually, no, he did not. He did not have that. Actually, his approval rating was actually quite a bit higher than that. We can look right now. We can actually look at that like right now. Trump was like 2 points up, but like he was 2 points higher, but the problem is that there was no debate right now. There wasn't a debate. It was still the summer. By the time we got to the debate, if I could find it right here, by the time we got to the presidential debate, which was right around September, effectively, Trump was hovering at like 44, 45, like maybe 43 even, but the debate was not in August. It must have been in September. So he was basically hovering at 44%. So I don't really understand. I don't really understand that comment, because Trump was 4 points higher heading into the debate than Biden is. So I don't know. And then this is feeling as though it is the noun cope. What do you mean? On point. All the trends that help me continue. Whatever hurt me stops reverses completely. What do you mean? That's not what I have at all. I literally have the Rust Belt trending to the left. The Rust Belt literally trends to the left because the white votes moving to the left nationally, which would actually make it harder for Trump to win. I don't understand. You know what? I'm just gonna pull up my website. I'm just gonna pull it up because I have everything broken down there. So this is the forecast. He gets 347. Biden wins 191. There's no tool tips for you to see any of our forecasts like individually. I'm gonna be programming that like right after the stream, and then I basically break down everything. So if you look, you could see here for the people that disagree with me, you could see the approval ratings of both Biden and Trump. Donald Trump's at 42.1. Biden's at 41. So what's actually funny about this is that he's actually at 40.1. I don't know why I used the other favorability. But essentially, Ryan Blinky politics. Gwinnett is one of the most detrending counties in the country, and you have it shifting Republican by 8 to 13 points. Please explain. Obviously, I would have to do a more in-depth analysis, which, you know what, actually, just to counteract what you're saying, I could actually just pull up right now. I could just pull up Georgia, actually. Let me see where I have Georgia, because I actually just made a new model. I just made a new one. Where is it? Oh, I guess I'm going to have to pull up the turnout model then. I can literally pull it up. I literally have Georgia. I literally have Georgia. I think I made a new model. Hold on. Let me go find it. Where do I have it? Okay, here it is. It's this one. So we pull this up and we go to Georgia. So he's winning the popular vote by 6.8%. So Trump would be winning Georgia by 9, according to this. And if we look at my other aggregate, he's up in Georgia by 10.7. And essentially what I did here was I found the NPV of the counties from 2016 to 2020. So essentially what you do is you look at the shift and then you look at how elastic the counties are, and then you look at the NPV, and then you look at the estimated turnout, and you get the final margin, and then you just use the popular vote, you swing that. So right now, if my popular vote stands, when we look at Gwinnett County, we could find it right here. The final margin in Gwinnett is 14 points. So you know what? I'll give that to you. I'll give it to you. He didn't win it. He doesn't get that closer, but it does narrow up though, because here it's 18. So you're right. It's not going to get that close, but it doesn't matter. Trump is still going to would still win by 9. And if he won the popular vote by 4.5, this shows him winning by 2. But if the popular vote was like -2, Trump's already winning the national popular vote. Funny how you get elasticity either 10 digits long or 1 digit long. Okay, so what I did for the elasticity is you basically go here. It basically tracks how elastic a county is to shifting. Like it shows it. So basically you get the average shift and then you apply it to the final margin. I don't really understand. And yeah, the shift in Gwinnett is pretty left. If we go to Gwinnett, it does shift 10 points to the left. So it makes sense for it to trend quite a bit to the left. So you're right. But well, either way, so let's go ahead and look at this. Back to what I was saying. I just had to do something really quick, came back. So we look at this. Here's a history of the past 2 cycles of a president's approval rating on election day and their national popular votes. So Trump got 46% approval rating on election day. He ended up getting 46.9%. Obama, 50. He ends up getting 51.1%. Bush in 2004 had a 49.5% approval rating. He ended up getting 50.7%. Clinton in 1996, despite being pretty popular, underperformed his vote share because there was a large third-party presence, that and Ross Perot, who got around 8%, which is similar to what RFK may actually get on election day. And if you add the fact in that Trump has basically performed within 46 to 47% for both cycles, you saw Clinton underperform his national popular vote share or his approval rating. And you also look at the fact, what did I talk about this? And that since third parties are getting a large amount in the vote share, the popular vote range, according to this, could range anywhere between 4.1 to 8.1, with 6.1 being the median result. And then I also talked about how you can cross-examine the margins for here as well. And I talk about RFK pulling away a lot from Biden more. And you can even see Biden, when he fell from 16%, Biden gained more back than what Trump gained back. So that shows that Biden is getting hurt more by RFK, just looking at the aggregate. And then when you even compare primary turnout, Trump beat Biden in primary turnout by 8 points. And Biden beat Trump in primary turnout by 2.4%. So if you adjust that for the popular vote, so this was 2.1 points off in favor of Trump. If you apply that to this, you see Trump would win the popular vote by 6.1%. So literally, you could look at different vantage points for this election. You could look at different actual data points, and you see that Donald Trump could possibly win the popular vote by like quite a bit. And if he's winning the popular vote by 5 to 7 points, like, I mean, yeah, and I don't think people really realize how big of a lead this is. This is a really big lead. Guys, Biden's an incumbent president. Just to give you an idea, Biden is an incumbent president with which really, he didn't have a serious challenger. He didn't. And he still got 14.3 million votes. If RFK had been in this primary, Biden probably would have gotten like 11 or 12 million votes. He probably would have gotten 11, 12 million votes in the primary if RFK had been in it. RFK may have done very well. And Trump only underperformed his 2020 primary vote totals by like a couple million votes. And that's because there was a whole other Republican that got like 4.6 million. So Trump had a serious primary challenger and only did literally a million and something votes worse. Biden had no serious challenger and did like 5 million votes worse. And Trump, Ryan Blixley, you could say Trump still did worse than 2020 turnout, but so did Biden. Biden did like 5 million votes worse. So I don't know what you're talking about. Trump won primary turnout, the popular vote in the primary turnout, by 8.2%. That's huge. That is huge. We can even go back to 2016. We could even go back to 2016 and even compare that. We could go back to see that. Clinton got 16.9, which is roughly where Trump is at right now. And if we look at Trump here, Trump got like 14 million. But again, there was a lot of other Republicans, and he only got like 45%. And he had never been the president before. And if you do the national popular vote for this, if we were to calculate that, we can go ahead and fill this out. Clinton did beat Trump by quite a bit in this. She did. She beat him by like 10 points in primary turnout. But he still won. He still won, though. And obviously, it's a little bit harder to compare because it's not the same party nominees. The only reason why this method works right now is because you're basically comparing the primary turnout between the individual candidates. If you were to do this like in 2028, if you were to do this for like, for example, like a DeSantis versus Newsom matchup, you would have to look at like 30 turnout, like total party turnout. Why didn't you analyze votes in states without contested primaries? After March 5th. Maybe that would crush your narrative with a higher percentage of raw votes for Biden. Okay, but Biden didn't Biden still got 14.3 million votes. He's the incumbent president. He shouldn't be getting lower. He should not be getting less votes. So I don't really I'm not doing that. All I'm doing is I'm looking at the turnout and I'm seeing that Trump is doing way better in turnout, regardless if, there was uncontested primaries. Yeah, sure. Uncontested primaries means there's going to be lower turnout, but there's no excuse for Biden because Trump got more votes than what he did in 2016. And if we look at Obama, we can look at Obama. Let's go ahead and look and see what he got. We can look at that. Let's go ahead and look at Obama. Obama got 8 million votes. He got 17 million votes here. So yeah, Obama did worse, and he was the incumbent. He still won. But again, if you let's look at Romney. Let's see what Romney got. Romney probably got a little bit more than Obama. That's what I'm assuming, but maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, he got like a couple more. He got like 2 million votes more, and McCain got like 9 million. So that is a little bit iffy, but again, it's what I said before. It's Sir Flame about Trump's VP pick is Rubio. What do you mean? Why are you saying it like that if he knows? Sammy, he got less votes because there was no challenger, therefore lower turnout. But Sammy, that's the whole point, though. He had no serious challenger, so he should have done better, but he didn't. Trump got more votes as the incumbent president. Like, that's the thing. Obama did worse. Who do you want? Obama did worse, which is fine, but there's no excuse for Biden because Trump did better as the incumbent president with Obama when Obama didn't even do better. And so Biden's bar in the primary was a little bit higher because we saw Trump do better in primary turnout in 2020 compared to 2016. So it would have made sense, okay, if Biden's performing like a couple more million votes worse, like if Trump would have gotten 16.9 and Biden was like a roughly the same amount or a little bit less than that, then like, I mean, yeah, sure, that's fine, but Biden still did 5 million votes worse. Bro, people have no reason to turn out for uncontested primaries. But Trump's primaries were uncontested in 2022. That's like, you guys are not understanding that. You guys are not understanding that. This is one part of my argument to why Trump is going to be winning an electoral college landslide. Pull up Pennsylvania statewide primary from this year. Okay, yeah, so we're going to pull it up. Let's go ahead and pull it up. You guys want to, Biden got more votes in Pennsylvania. Yeah, he got more votes. Yeah, in a state where Democrats, Kendrick or Jizzy Drake, definitely Kendrick Lamar, 100%. Drizzy can go to hell. Is Tulsi still in play? I doubt it. Let's pull up Pennsylvania primaries. Let's look at them. Let's see. So Trump got 70. Okay, yeah. So Biden did what? Like 200,000 votes better than Trump in a state where Democrats lead in voter registration by like 350,000. So Biden underperformed the voter registration in Pennsylvania. Just to let you guys know. I'm just putting it out there. I'm just putting it out there. Democrats lead in voter registration by 350,000 right now, and Biden still underperformed that margin. He only won by like 170,000 votes in primary turnout here. And this is a state where they have more Democrats anyway. This is not like Kentucky. You having a going opposite. How would this turn out? Because Biden's losing way more support than Trump is. Like, and I don't even have it at R+8. I have it at like plus 6.8. But literally, when you look at every single historical fact, plus Haley had dropped out and protest vote against Trump was bigger than against Biden. What protest vote are you talking about? I don't understand. I hope you realize that a lot of these primaries were crossover votes. Like, there were a lot of Republicans that transferred over, or Democrats that transferred over to Republicans to vote for Nikki Haley just to mess with Trump's numbers. Like, Haley probably really only got like 3.5 million, two, maybe 3 million votes in the primary. Okay, but guys, like, you have stuff called mail-in ballots. A lot of Democrats crossed over to the Republican side just to mess with him. Like, there's a lot of stuff. Like, these numbers, like, I don't understand. These numbers are not that bad for Trump. They're really not. Like, they're not bad. Biden only did a little better than Trump in a state where Democrats lead by 300,000 votes in voter registration. Republicans barely lost to the turnout here, but this is one single state. And either way, if you guys want to play the game, if you guys want to play this game of, oh, look at the individual states. Yeah, we could look at the individual states, but Trump, if you put all the primaries on an electoral college map, Trump wins the electoral college. I've done it before. Trump gets like 316 electoral votes. So I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear when you guys are like, oh, in the individual states, Trump does better. Yeah, okay. So if we put all of them on the electoral college map, Trump actually wins the electoral college. So look at the states after Haley dropped out. Why? Why would I do that? That doesn't make any sense. We're going to discount all the other states that also had votes too. That doesn't make any sense. That makes no sense whatsoever. I mean, yeah, we could play this game of, oh, yeah, Biden got slightly more votes in Pennsylvania where he should have done way better, which in 2020, Biden did significantly better in the primary against Trump. Like, so I don't understand this logic. Keep in mind, chatters, we are here for input and observation, not talking like jackasses for each other. I mean, they're not really acting like jackasses. They're just trying to make their points. I'm just having a conversation with them and refuting their points and actually proving my points. It's fine. We're in a political discussion. Like, it's really that simple. It's not that complicated. So, no, yeah, I really don't. Yeah, no, I don't really think that they really understand. Either way, if you added up all the vote totals and you put Trump's all the states on here, slightly more votes can make or break in an election. Yeah, that's true, but we have Trump up by like way more than it. We have Trump in a position where that's not going to really make a difference, to be honest. So you guys think the election is going to be close. As of right now, you guys think it's going to be close because conventional wisdom will tell you, oh, it's actually going to be a close race. And that's what all the pundits are saying. And literally, what all the pundits are doing, here's what all the pundits are doing. They're literally looking at their polls and being like, well, also the polls say this, so that means the race must be close. But guys, we could take a trip down memory lane. Biden was leading by 9.5. He was leading by 9.5 points. You guys were acting like he was ahead by like only 2 points. Biden led the national aggregate by 7.2, and Biden only won by 4.5. And if you do an adjusted aggregate, which means you add up each pollster's polls and you actually divide that and you average them out, Biden was actually leading by 9 points. And when you find the adjusted error for that, it's like a 4.5 point miss. And the guy that was underestimated, Trump, is now facing the same guy who is now 12 points less popular than what he was on the same day that he outperformed him on. So the chances of the polls underestimating Biden are very, very slim. It could happen, but it's very, very slim. I don't think you guys understand how low Biden's approval rating is. It's very low. Even if you were to add up all the votes, so let's say 74 million and 81 million. So let's say turnout's exactly the same, which is probably not going to even be, but let's say it's the same. So if Biden has a 40% approval rating, so if Biden has a 40% approval rating, around where he's at, that's 62 million votes. If Trump has a 42% approval rating, that's like 65 million votes. So that's roughly with what I have. And that's accounting for the fact that essentially Trump would be winning the national popular vote. If this was the case, Trump wins here by 2.4, which is what the polling aggregate is showing, which would make sense because the polling aggregate has it at 2.6. So that reflects the polling aggregates. But so do you think he will lead the aggregate by 4 points on November 4th? Here's the thing, Ryan. I'm not going to go out there and say that Trump's going to lead by X amount this or Biden's going to take the lead because that's what everybody does. They retrospectively go out there and they're like, well, okay, by the time we get to the election, X, Y, and Z would have happened. So because of that, Wisconsin's going to be close. That's not what I'm doing. I'm looking at the current stuff we have, the current historical polling errors, the current everything. You're not predicting 2.4%, though. You're predicting by nearly 3 times that. But, Brian, I haven't finished. Like, I have not finished. This is just a head-to-head. When you factor in third-party candidates that are taking more away from Biden, this margin could expand. Now, am I going to go out there and say, oh, well, he's actually going to win it by 6 off of that? No, it maybe would be like 4 or 5 points probably, maybe around 4. But that's still closer to 6.8% than anybody else is saying anyway. So just looking at that alone, and also Trump has never gotten 42% of the national popular vote ever. He's always gotten over 46, but less than 47. He's always been in that range for both election cycles. And I don't expect him to get less than like 44, 43. That's even being friendly to Biden. I don't think Trump's going to get 43, 44% of the national popular vote. I really, really doubt it. Now, do I think Biden's going to get 40? It's debatable because there's a lot of conflicting data. You have the fact that this is a really polarized climate. Yeah, that's true. It could be Trump getting 48, Biden gets 42, but I don't expect the Biden to outperform. You guys think that Biden's going to outperform his popular vote margin by like 5 points? Ryan, the reason why I'm saying that is because, again, you're not thinking. When you go over here, this applies to incumbent presidents. Trump's basically his popular vote share can fluctuate a little bit because he's not the incumbent. Last time he was the incumbent. So when he had a 46% approval rating, he ended up getting 46.9. You see all of the all the presidents that you have not had a large third party vote share in these elections, they outperformed their approval rating. The one election where there's a significant third-party vote share, the popular Bill Clinton did 5 points worse, and he had a 54% approval rating. And Ross Perot got 8% of the national popular vote, even if RFK still gets 5%, which I think that's pretty low. I think he actually gets more than that. He probably gets like 7 or 8. That's what I'm thinking he's going to get. And that's not even including the other third-party candidates. Biden could possibly underperform his vote share. Now, maybe he doesn't. Maybe he does a point or two better, like the other incumbents have. But the historical data shows that Clinton, despite being very popular, did like 5 points worse than his approval rating because there was a large third-party vote share. So since Trump is not the incumbent anymore, his approval rating is a little bit more flexible. If you notice, McCain had a positive approval rating on election day. So did Romney in 2008 and 2012. Like, they were favored nationally, but Romney didn't get no 50-something percent. He got 47. So that's roughly where we're standing right now. Trump is not the incumbent, so he has a little bit of more room to play. That's why you see such a basically a reverse dynamic in the polling data right now. Except the problem is Biden was ahead by 7 and underperformed and barely won the electoral college despite winning the popular vote by more than Obama did in 2012. Now Trump is up. Now Trump is up 2.6% in the 5-way aggregate, and Biden at this time was leading by 9.5%. So the dynamic is just completely different, and Trump doesn't have to win the popular vote to win. McCain and Romney underperformed their polls as non-incumbents, but suddenly the opposite will happen this time. Okay, but Trump already has an electoral record of winning, though. And he's been in 2 elections, and he's about to be in his 3rd, and in both elections, he got roughly the same national vote share. I'm not saying it's possible that Trump could outperform it. Trump could stay at that margin, but it's also very possible Biden could do worse than that, just based off what I told you about Clinton. So, yeah, I guess maybe not. Maybe Trump doesn't outperform 42%. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he gets 43. Maybe he gets 44. Or maybe he stays there. But more than likely, Biden does worse because Clinton did 5 points worse when you had a large third-party candidate. And now, again, Ryan, as time goes on, and if polling data shows Biden leading by 2 or 3 points, which I doubt is going to happen, but you never know. If Biden leads by 2 or 3 points nationally, then maybe. How is he a winner? He never won the popular vote. Really? So now, Sammy, you see, the thing is, me and Ryan are going back in a political back and forth, and I'm actually giving him like a entertaining like back and forth on this, and I'm actually backing my stuff up. But you're literally just going out here and being like, oh, well, he was never a winner, even though he literally won an entire presidential election. So I don't really know what you're talking about. Let me see. So how long are we gone for? About an hour. All right. Well, guys, so here's the thing about tomorrow's stream. I was originally going to stream during the debate, but here's the problem. They decided out of nowhere that, CNN, for absolutely no reason, is like, they're basically saying, really, They're like, oh well, if you stream our debate, guess what? We're gonna give you a lawsuit for no apparent reason besides, oh, the debate's ours. Even though it's a totally public debate that they're airing on national television, they're, for whatever reason, they want to decide to, they're going to give a lawsuit to anybody who streams it, which doesn't really make any sense because that means they don't want fact checkers on their stuff. Gender vote in 2020, Biden won nationally by 15, Trump won most by 8. Switch in 2044, Trump plus 3. So thank you for the 5, by the way. I appreciate it. So you think Trump's going to win the popular vote by 3? Ryan Blinkley, CNN or Fox? I mean, yeah, that's your opinion. I guess the way to go about it is you bring your way to go is you bring your Discord server and a VC record it. What do you mean? What gender does it know? Huh? I mean, yeah, it would have been fun to live stream during it. My prediction for the debate, this is what I think is going to happen during the debate. I'm going to be super honest. This is what I think is going to happen. I'm actually going to pull Photoshop up to do a little bit of a drawing demonstration to make this a little bit more fun. So I'm actually going to switch the windows really quick because I am not showing my window. Oh, you got to be kidding me. I don't understand why it's not letting me do it. Oh, well, I'm going to just have to share my entire screen then. So let's go down here to Photoshop. We're going to do a little bit of funny commentary, but also serious at the same time. So essentially, what's going to happen is they're going to get there, and we have Jake Tapper down here on the bottom with his little spiky hair, and we have Dana Bush, right? They're the moderators of the debate. And they're here. They're excited to be there because they hate Trump and they just want to roast him, right? So they're just there. I could draw way better than this, by the way, but that's not the point. So they're there. They're relaxing, and then we have the stage, right? On Point deletes his channel. In fact, and when Trump doesn't win the popular vote by 7. Okay, so if Trump wins it by 5 or 4, and I get a few states wrong. All right, okay. So we see the stages here, and let's say, Trump is here, right? Trump is here. He's, with his little thing, right? Trump is there, standing there. He's just there during the debate, looking all happy. And then we have Biden over here, who also looks all happy too, with the little bit of hair he has, and is standing right there. So basically, this is what's going to happen when the debate starts. This is what's going to happen. So what's going to happen is the first question they're going to say is J6. They're going to be like, oh, what happened with J6? Oh, abortion. I mean, Biden is almost bald effectively. I could give him his little toupee if you want, but he's effectively almost bald. And so let's say this is how it is, right? Body hair on Biden. Okay. Oh, Sammy said that Biden's gonna smoke Biden. I mean, to be honest, what's going to happen is the liberal media is going to go out there and say, well, as long as Biden was standing up on his 2 feet and didn't gaffe, or even if he gaffes a little bit, they're going to be like, well, Biden's alive. He won the debate. That's what the liberal media is going to say. And I'm going to also criticize the conservative media. They're going to go out there and they're going to be like, oh my God, Biden actually could talk. Biden's actually debating Trump. Like, he could actually put 2 sentences together. I think the likeliness of Biden having a stroke on stage or like gaffing really bad is actually really low. I don't think it's going to be that likely. If he gaffes, and I'm talking about, it has to be bad. Like, if he stutters, no one cares. But if he gaffes really bad, I think it's not likely he does that. So this is what's going to happen. Trump, and then they have their little mics, right? So they have their little mics on stage, right? And what's going to happen is they're muted every 2 minutes, right? So they're muted every 2 minutes. And So this is what's going to happen. This is the mistake Biden made, and why Trump already understands that in 2020, he already understands that he cannot talk over Biden, and that's why he lost last time. He knows that. So now with the muted mics, Biden's forced to give a full answer. And what I think is going to happen is Biden is going to get stuck on an answer, and they're going to give the moderators a sort of like, they're going to give the moderators a cue to be like, hey, we got to cut Biden's time. We got to cut him short. And they're going to give it to Trump, and they're going to be like, oh, Trump, well, what do you think about that issue? While Biden's like gaffing, and Trump is good. This would be the funniest thing. This would be the funniest thing if this happens. This would be hilarious. If Trump literally just goes like, oh, Biden's turn is not over yet. Why let him talk? That would be the funniest thing ever if that happened. I totally think that's going to happen tomorrow. Could be wrong, but I think it's probably very likely that that would happen. Now, I think they're going to talk about the economy. They're going to talk about inflation and how inflation's going up. They're going to talk about the immigration issues, so the southern border. They're going to talk about that. They're going to talk about abortion. They're going to talk about all these things, right? But what's going to happen is they're going to give Biden all of the I don't know if they're going to softball him. I don't know if they are, but I definitely think this is going to be a 3v1. This is going to be a 3v1. Trump's going to be going against him, and he's going to be going against the moderators. It's going to be a 3v1. Guys, don't be mistaken. This is not a head-to-head presidential debate. Trump has 3 people to debate tomorrow. We're going to just be honest. He's debating 3 people. Do I think he's going to be able to pull it off? I mean, all the issues are favoring him right now, but I don't know. And really, all he's got to do is just act the way he's been on the campaign trail. If he's nice and just not rude like last time, because that first debate performance was really bad for him. That wasn't good. If he can just maintain his demeanor, he'll literally be completely fine. Nothing will happen. The less Trump talks tomorrow, the better it is for him. And I think Trump understands that. And I think Biden's going to be the one playing the whole defense thing. That's what we're going to be looking at tomorrow. But anyways, guys, that's pretty much it for now. I'm going to be heading out now. If you guys did enjoy the stream, please make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Make sure to go ahead and follow Twitter and join the Discord server. And I will see you guys in the next video. And make sure to tune into the stream tomorrow for the presidential debate after. I'm going to have to stream after, and I'll be breaking down everything that happened.